talk about how do you really make money with this whole content creation, digital marketing, entrepreneur thing? I see this question every single day, multiple times a day, and just about every group that I'm in, especially in my faceless groups. There's still a lot of ambiguity around exactly how do you make money with AI? How do you make money with digital products? How do you actually make money with this, right? Especially with AI. Everybody's out there making all these AI twins and posting all these videos and doing any of these things. And it gets a little like, I see you, but how exactly, like, how do you get to the benefit part of this? Which for most of us, the benefit is the money of it, right? We still want to be able to make, and maybe that's not the only benefit. You may have a huge mission to help the people, get the word out there, but even to do that, you need money. I talk to founders and people all the time who have amazing missions. They have conferences, they've been giving to the community, and they come to me because they're like, I love doing what I'm doing. I'm helping people what I'm doing. My podcasters, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm helping people doing what I'm doing, but I can't keep doing what I'm doing for free, right? So if you've had that thought, if you've had that concern, that question, I want you guys to keep watching this video because I'm going to be very transparent and break down all the ways that I make money with content, right? And I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I do, what I've done, some of my thoughts about doing what I do and what I've done, what I still do, what I'm doing and what I've done. Some of the what it really takes to do what I do, right? It's not necessarily, and it's not all about me. I'm giving this as an example, but it's not necessarily people think, oh, I just turn on my camera and start talking, right? It's not that. I am constantly not just figuring out what content to create and stuff like that. I'm also constantly looking for the most efficient ways to create content because some things I'm gonna tell you, you can make a lot of money doing, but it's a lot of work, right? Or it's a lot of, like, for me, like, a lot of vulnerability, like, a lot of things I'm not willing to do that, and I'm okay saying I'm not willing to do that, like, not saying not all money is good money, some money is good for those people, which is alright, right? But for me, you get to choose, which is what I love about this whole business. You get to choose, right? So I'm gonna give you guys all the ways so you can make that choice. So I made a list here, and we are gonna start breaking it down. I'm out of water, so we're gonna get as far as we can with this list. So I made the first list I'll first talk about the first list that I'm not gonna say made me the first bit of money. So the first thing that made me money was being a service provider. And I'm gonna push that down on the list because that's what most people already are. And so you're probably already thinking, I'm using content creation to bring in people for the services. That's also where the frustration pops in because a lot of people are making content for the services, and that's the longer of the roads because you still like you're bringing people in to attract them, but you may not convert them on the first video. You know how they say it's 7 touch points and now 70 touch points, whatever. Some people don't convert right off the back, and it's really hard if your only way to get paid from creating is I've gotta be turning a client every week or every day and stuff like that. You will get to that. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, but that is not the day 1, month 1, sometimes even year 1 reality, depending on what it is. Especially if you're still just figuring out what the right thing to offer is, you're shifting, they're shifting, things are shifting. And so that's not, while it's a goal, it's not my first goal. So let me get back to my list, right? So that's further down the list because I know most of you guys are service providers and most of you guys are probably here because you're frustrated being a service provider and creating all this content and not making any money. So my first none, which is the first thing when I first started my website, Online Boutique Source, which is one of my first breakout sites, it was affiliate marketing. Let me tell you a little backstory behind this. I started Online Boutique Source because I was a service provider. And at that time, I was only doing pretty much websites and graphic designs, not a lot of strategy. While I knew strategy and I made suggestions, I wasn't like a coach or I wasn't that, right? So I created this website because I did know all this, like, but I'd worked so many people, done it myself. I knew what you should be looking at. I knew where to go look for legal advice, like, what you should think of in a contract, where to get all the wholesalers. Like, I knew all this stuff. So, but it wasn't my money thing at the time, right? It wasn't my money thing at the time. I just knew all this stuff. So I built this website, Online Boutique Source, and the idea was for it to be an attraction because I knew enough about web design and attracting that I knew what people would look for. So I'm like, "You'll look for this and find your web designer too." And I knew that my clients who did come to me from all these other ways needed a place to learn this stuff that they did not have, because they would come to me after we'd done the technical part. Like, we built the website and it's like, no one's coming to my site, right? And it's like, well, because you didn't market it, because you didn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, let me just give you a checklist of what you need to do. So that was like one of my first opt-ins, was a big checklist for online boutique owners. So that's how I started with that, because the idea originally was not for it to be a big like, it wasn't to be the big money maker, it was really to be the big attraction point, but I also knew what I was doing. So, with the first thing I did, I was on Amazon, and I got the Amazon affiliates, I got a couple of other affiliates. So, I started with affiliate marketing for products, and we'll talk about the different types of affiliate marketing. So, that was my first way of making money, just by putting, like, books and things that I would use, things that I would recommend. I hadn't written a book, so why don't I just recommend somebody else who wrote a book already, right? I hadn't done some things. I didn't have courses. I didn't have anything other than you could sign up for my service, but that didn't mean those people didn't need things. So why don't I give you some lower cost resources and I at least make a commission off of it? And let's get off my back. Just created content, right? And so that's kind of how I really got started. Like, one thing I know I can do is create content, and I do that, right? And so from there, you get the different types of affiliates. So there's the product affiliate, the easiest one. That's like your Amazon, it's your TikTok shops. You can do that. One thing I don't like about it is that you have to keep creating for that. Like, it's really a grind. It's not very, for me, it wasn't meaningful enough. Not saying no shade, like, it's some good stuff. People need it. I still create this kind of content, but I wanted to also do things like this. I wanted to also share my expertise and things like that. And so that level of content didn't necessarily, because I didn't want to be a fashion guru. I don't want to do hair videos. So for what I wanted to talk about, it just is not a good fit to only rely on products. So we talked about affiliate marketing for products. Let's talk about affiliate marketing for software. That's really my sweet spot. Also, because it goes in line with the type of content I like to create. I use a lot of tools. I like to use a lot of tools. I like to play with a lot of tools. Um, One of the things and services I offer is helping people to make the right selection of tools. So it falls right in line that as I'm learning tools, to make content about them and talk more about them. So any tool that has an affiliate program, I even target tools that have an affiliate program, because it's just what my content is. It's easy for me to share. I work with different companies that need different solutions. So I'm constantly testing. It's super easy for me, right? And then I do training. So I train on tools. I'm forced to learn them to make sure that I train. So literally, if I just give out little snippets of my training, now that leads into my product. So it makes more sense that with my products and what I like to even talk about and my expertise, that software is the best affiliate for me. Now, I'll also say you don't have to be a techie to talk about software. A lot of people think that, but it's not necessarily you have to go out and use all the tools. You can be affiliate for software that's just like 5 things that you just happen to use. If this is what you figured out works for you, there's nothing that says you can't be affiliate for something else. Even if you level up, like, I talk about the tools I use, but I also talk about tools I used to use, because at that time, for that level of where we were and what I was working on, it was amazing. Maybe I'm not working on it anymore. Like, you hear me talk less about WordPress. Not that I don't think WordPress is great. I still use WordPress because that's what I use, but I see A, there's some other options out there, and B, the level of what people need has changed, where you may not need a WordPress to do everything. You can do it now in a Sweet Dash or a Squarespace or whatever else I recommend. So, going back to doing affiliates for software, that's one of the reasons why I like it. The other reason, the pay, right? We'd be very honest. They don't pay bad, depends on the subscription. Like, you can't get $100 out of a $20 subscription, but they tend to pay between 20 to 40% of whatever their subscription is. But where the money really is with software is that they pay every month that person is part of that program, right? And a lot of them pay up to at least 1 year, 2 years, and some of them still do pay as long as that person is still there. So that even makes your content more important, because if you just keep creating content around things that people have signed up for, that you'll continue to get paid. And even if you don't, they'll probably still continue to use it. I have software that I haven't talked about in years that I still get commissions for because I had maybe a series of videos which still get found. Or because a person signed up and they literally just they're still using it. They didn't need to find a need to change or a reason to change. So they did not and they're still there. So that's another reason I like that longevity part of software because all you have to do, I do a couple of pushes a month that are really heavy, make some videos, and the affiliate incomes just continue, right? And it's how I like to help people. I like to help people find tools. So other way I make money or a lot of people hear about making money are the platforms. And I say it that way because I am actually not I'm only monetized right now on Facebook. So none of my other platforms are monetized. I was monetized at one point in YouTube. They changed the program. I'm no longer monetized. We're on our way back up. But that's the but the point of the video is, and the point of this part of the video is you don't have to wait for platform monetization to get monetized. Also, platforms have different levels of monetization. So while my pages on TikTok aren't monetized via the creator program, two of my channels are both in the TikTok shop, which is their equivalent to just think of it like Shoppers Network MSN. If you've not heard of TikTok Shop, it's just live shopping, live videos, or just video recommendations, which is what I usually have done either on my faceless channels or my own channel, just recommending or showing how you use videos. Very similar to what I do with software. I wish one day they let me do affiliates in TikTok Shop. It would be on, but that's a whole other story. Like if I could do software, TikTok Shop, I need that really, really bad. But it's similar to what we do with software, but it's only for one product at a time. So it does have that thing of it's only one thing at a time. I can say the videos last longer, not as long as YouTube. The videos last pretty long though. I just got a number of sales from videos that were done back in September. So they last longer, but it's hit or miss 'cause you gotta go with the algorithms. Like there's a lot more work to that. The people making real money, you can make real money. I've seen people making real money, but they're also very strategic that like they're incorporating products into everything. They're usually in either the 5,000 up program, not the pilot program, and they are absolutely doing this regularly all of the time, right? So I'll say that too, even if you're gonna do Amazon affiliates, which is a much smaller commission, you gotta be ready to make real money. You have to be ready to do an X amount of videos. Like, if you can't think of doing 100 videos a month, like, if that thought really makes you like, "Oh my god, I gotta do 100 product videos a month," then these probably aren't the programs for you, right? If you wanna get it started, like, I'll get started, like, my Amazon, I think about 3 I did it for a couple of months, hardcore, made sure I refilmed every single thing, and then I just let it coast, and it still pays me not as much as it did back then, right? But it still pays a little bit each month. And if I ever want to get back on or do more, I just start doing more videos. Like, you know, that's the other thing about content creation that people don't get or don't see as much is that you don't have to commit forever to one thing. If you choose your channels right and choose your platforms right, you have repeatable pieces of content. My Amazon videos are also available on YouTube and also doing other things. Some of them are doing things on TikTok as well. It's the same video. I'm not making 3 videos. That's one, right? The other thing is people don't choose the platforms that are the ones that have a little bit of longevity. So while I put a video on Amazon because it may have come from TikTok, because TikTok needs the most, it might get to Amazon. I know it's gonna be longer on Amazon, even though the commission's a little bit less. So I build into my schedule, let me get a day to go to get all my TikTok videos and put them on Amazon, or let me give that to a team member. So I don't have to go hard at this every single day, for it can still be relevant and make income and things like that. That's how I do all of this without as much burnout, is that I don't stress myself to do it all the time. I stress myself to get it up and running, get it profitable, and then I can decide if I wanna keep going really hard at this or dial back, or depending on the time of year. So the time of year when I get a lot of client work, I'll dial it back. Kind of time of year when I get less client work, I'll do this, right? So all of those different factors come in when you're thinking about which one to do. So Next one, I'll go a little fast with these because I know you guys hear more about these, and then the ones that kinda go hand in hand together. So, next one, UGC. UGC is just when a company pays you to make a video. You don't necessarily have to have a big following. Some of them do more influencer UGC, which is where you have already your own audience, but you can also do a lot of smaller ones. Smaller companies, local companies, very niche companies. Like, yes, they can get a big influencer with 1 million followers in hair care, but if she's not the one who also talks a lot about building brands and building systems and using Notion, she's not necessarily going to be the best influencer. Maybe because I do this every single day. And even though my audience is smaller, my audience is here for a very specific thing. I have already a little context, notoriety. I even got degrees in this, right? So who's going to listen to? The million person influencer who's going to also cost that company a lot more, or the actual someone who does it, teaches it kind of thing influencer. So you don't have to be a huge influencer to get UGC contracts. You just have to really set your authority to get good UGC contracts, right? Next one, features. So this is the opposite because we grow pages because we do have audiences, right? You can leverage that audience. So for features, this is more for smaller companies who want to get on a page that already has a lot of traction. So on our faceless pages, they talk about different topics. So we run series. So we did a movie series, we did a book series, we did Kwanzaa, like we run different series of content, right? And so if there's a series like the book series, where we can potentially open up slots for other book like authors and publishing companies to make sure that they get featured, we open up the slots. There's nothing wrong with that. Everything we say is, affiliate or something, partnership, whatever it is, right? We still vet them. So we not just put any old book. You can't just, it is paid to play in a way, but you can't play if you don't qualify, right? So it's kind of a little bit of both. So there's still that integrity there, and it's a really good way to help other business owners get out there and offer the service, and it's a way to make income, right? Next one, services. We talked about that. Most people are going straight to their services or straight to the next thing I have, which is digital products. I do see digital products do well or do better because two things. One, evergreen, making anything evergreen that does not have to have you coming back or pushing it is always going to be top for me. Number 2, usually it's a lower price point and people are willing to try things that are quickly if they like watch a video or 2. And you can make them much more aligned to your video. No one says you need 1 digital product. No one says you can only have 2. Literally, every time you make a video and you show someone how to do it, if you have a checklist, a template, or something that goes with that, you make a digital product. You make it available. You would already have the system set up to easily make these available, and that way, you are constantly bringing in more income. So this is why, like, I always used to use Member Vault for this. Now I'm using Sweet Dash and Flow Loop for this. But this is why I have those tools because they're constantly ThriveCard's another one I love because I can easily put a ThriveCard up and nothing ever really goes away. It may not be the thing I'm talking about right now, but it's still in the background, which, by the way, now we talk about that. Let's talk about our upcoming spring workshops. If you want to build out these systems, your business can move and run using these different products and services that I'm talking about now, head on down to the little survey where we're asking, what do you want us to do for our next Build It workshop? Answer the questions, put in your information. We'll make sure that you get whatever the results are and get the first invites to our next workshop. So back to my list, that these are all the ways I mentioned digital products as my final way. And actually, I probably should have talked about that at the very, very beginning. But right with digital products and affiliate marketing, those are my first two things. Before I started offering, I already had my service, but before I started coaching or consulting or anything, I started off with affiliates because that gave me an idea of what people really were interested in because I could choose a lot of different products all at one time. I can affiliate for tools, I affiliate for books, I affiliate for a lot of different things, right? The other thing that always made me the most, digital products. There will always be someone who needs a tool, a utensil, right? Think we can't eat without a fork, right? Everybody needs something and everyone's willing to pay, even if it's just a little bit, there's always someone out there. My first like tool thing was my wholesaler's listing for 9.99. That wholesale listing made me $45,000 before I stopped selling it because I just kept it out there. I didn't push, I didn't do too much. I did every once in a while. I made sure my traffic was coming to it because I have my traffic channels, and I just let it live, right? And that's exactly what we're doing now with our workshops. You can see the examples all throughout this channel. You need to see the proof, right? Of exactly how we move, that these links just they move, but we keep putting out content and the content keeps getting us to that next level. So hopefully this was helpful. Like I said, if you need some help with it, check the little links down. Join the next Build It workshop where we build out these systems for everyone together and make it work and make it profitable. All right. Bye, guys.